estate, finance, and probate to help us and help our clients make more money, more income, and build more wealth. And the other day, I was introduced by a friend of mine, an expert in one area of real estate investing, to another expert, to John Mills from South Bay Equity Lending, who is a lender and in particular has a unique product that's hard to find. It's not very well executed generally, but they do a good job of them, and it's becoming more important to him. So I asked him if we could record some time together, and he was nice enough to allow that. So please say hi to John Mills. Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Bill. Thanks for this invitation. I appreciate it. It's great,
Fantastic.
great opportunity.
Fantastic. And so I see you're in your South Bay chic business dress.
That's right.
I used to live in the South Bay, so there's kind of a certain aura for people who live down there. So John, before we get into the details, give us a little background. Where did you grow up, and then how did you get into mortgage lending in general?
Oh, okay. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit, but I spent 30 years in the fashion and apparel industry. And
there you go.
And
I felt that.
That's the sartorial choices. I was in the surf industry, and I worked for a lot of years at a surf brand called Quicksilver. And I was always I was in the sales organization there. So senior vice president of sales from North America. And I did that for, like I said, for 30 years. I was in the apparel business with Quick for 24 of those years.
Wow.
And I was ready when I got into my 50s. I was ready for a second career. I've been selling clothes for 30 years, and a good friend of mine, Matt Hadnitz, the broker, founder, owner of South Bay Equity Lending, and he asked if I'd be interested to come aboard. And the more I learned about it, the more interested I got. So I joined South Bay Equity Lending in 2015. So I've been in the mortgage business for the past 7 years. Wow. And the product we're going to talk about is something where Matt and the investors in the network he has, South Bay Equity Lending's put together this investor group to help people in a very particular situation or niche kind of situation.
Well, it sounds like you guys do a number of different things, but the specific thing we want to talk about is loans to estates. So kind of give us an idea of what is a common use scenario of somebody who needs to borrow money as an estate.
Well, the situation we're coming across a lot, and the reason, and we talked about a little bit beforehand, was as a brokerage, we were looking for this product in the marketplace and had a really difficult time finding it. So it's really difficult to find, and it's a very useful product. So South Bay Equity Lending put together a group of investors, and what it is, this investment group will do a private money loan to a trust. And what that allows is that in a trust situation where a parent, let's say as a simple example, a parent has 2 children and the parent passes, and now the trust has a house and some other assets, but the house is the biggest part. And so they want to split that, but there's no way to split it evenly unless they take it out of, and to preface, and one of the children wants the house. So the only way you could do that without this product would be it comes out of the trust, and then they refinance and take one of the people off. They get their share of the money, and the others left holding the house in a loan. The problem with that, or the negative with that, is that when they do that refinance, when it comes out of the trust, it's going to trigger a reassessment of the property taxes. So the property tax is going to be at the current value of the house. What this product does is we will loan the money to the trust before the trust is settled, so that one sibling could, in this example, get their share of the money from that loan, and the house is encumbered with that loan to the trust. Now, when the house comes out of the trust is settled. One child has the house. It's a parent to child inheritance, and because of that, there's the property taxes are not reassessed. So that could be, obviously, you look at Southern California particularly, but if that house was purchased 30 years ago, think of what the property taxes are versus what they would be today. And so that house comes out of escrow, comes out of the trust, and the heir has the house, and now they can refinance it in their name and pay off this loan to the trust. And now they own that house with a conventional loan or for whatever they qualify for.
So it's really an intermediate step where they can't afford in this scenario to pay out the other person, rather than split the property, which is going to complicate the tax assessment. This interim step will give the trust the money to give one, let's say if there's two heirs, one heir the cash and the other one has the property with the loan on it.
That's right.
Which they may or may not be able to afford, but they can refinance it at that point into terms that they can afford.
Yeah, this is really a bridge loan. It's a product to get you from point A to point B. It's not how you would want to finance your home for the long term. It's private money rates, but it's a great product in that it allows you to settle the trust with one heir on that property, so that when they refinance, they're going to keep that property tax basis from when their parent purchased the house. So it's going to save them thousands a year. So it's really worthwhile. What's unique about it too, there's no prepayment penalty. So as soon as they're ready to pay it off, it can be paid off. It's a very specific niche product, but something that's people are looking for, and there's definitely demand for. So as the word's getting out, we're getting more people interested.
And I know your firm is one of the leading mortgage lenders of standard product in the area. And so I imagine what you're doing is you're getting that next loan kind of lined up, pre-approved, and get all the documents ready together. And that way you close on this bridge loan. What's the typical time period from the closing of the bridge loan to the closing of a refinance loan?
Well, what we'll do is we will start, each loan's case by case, and they want to review the risk, but really the investors don't want to do this loan unless they know it can be refinanced once it comes out. So you're going to already be starting to do the bridge loan. We're going to do an appraisal. We get a credit report. We're going to get a full loan application. So it's already that refinance is already pre-underwritten, and the process is really already started. So when that thing comes out, when that house comes out of trust, when the trust is settled, the refinance is already underway. So typically this loan to a trust will stay out from 30 to 60 days. Typically that refinance could be done once it comes out, but the wheels are already turning on the refinance. The investors want to know that refinance can be done. That's the exit strategy. The other, just one sort of 1A to that, I was talking to Matt before the podcast today, where he has a situation right now. Instead of refinancing it, the heir wants to sell their current house and keep that house. So they're putting their current house on the market that they own.
Got it.
Selling it, and with the proceeds, they'll pay off the loan to the church. So, I mean, it does not necessarily refinance, but that's sort of the simple, most common.
Got it. Yeah, they're inheriting a house they want to move into. Normally couldn't afford the two houses, but here you can sell that, and very good. And so you say private money rates. What's a range of price or interest rate?
It's pretty competitive with what's typical with the market. The points they're going to be points because the loan's only out for 30 to 60 days. The interest rate's going to be interest only. It's not really, that's not really where the investors are going to make the money. They're going to want some points on it. So, I mean, it's like I said, it's case to case. It could be 3 to 4 points, and the rates are going to be high single digit to low double digit, depending on the situation.
Got it.
But it's the rate's almost inconsequential, because when you're talking about 30 days interest only, I mean, it's not really, that really doesn't add up to a heck of a lot. You're really going to pay with the points, just to have the access to this money and to be able to get you from A to point B. So when you do the math and you see how much you're paying for this loan versus the benefit you're going to get of a property tax basis for the next however long you own the house,
and I think it's important as a real estate agent, if I present this to a client, I'm going to want to walk through with them those numbers and say, look, if you reassess the property, you're facing an extra 1% on, maybe $1 million, and here you're going to pay, 3 or 4 points on $500,000 or less maybe. And you work the numbers out and say, well, you'll break even in 2 years. You're going to keep the house for 2 years or more. And many times these people keep these houses and then rent them out, and that's a way for them to keep the cost down for a long period of time. So, okay, so that's the case for trust. Now, I'm often involved in cases in probate. Now, the nice about probate is you can transfer the property stepped up regardless. So it has the advantage the trust has. But same issue as far as the reassessment. If it's passed from parent to child, typically not. But probate's going to last longer. Probate could be, 6 months or a year further out. Is this something that they would be open to or do in a probate case, or just strictly we're talking trusts?
Right now, they're really just looking at trusts. I mean, that's been the product.
Right.
But it's the kind of thing let us say no. Like it is so case by case. I think
Right.
it'll depend on the situation. I would never want to discourage someone from reaching out to us and exploring it, because it's a group of investors, and with each loan that comes in, they're going to sit down and evaluate the risk and decide how they, what terms they want and the money and how they're, how much they're willing.
Now, I guess it gets expensive if this is the beginning of a probate. My guess is if the probate's been filed and you're into it for 6 months or 9 months and the credit period's lasted and there's no objectors at this point, he has full authority, all you have is a one piece of property, this would be a way to wrap it up pretty quick. Perhaps you can make a case of, and walk through and who the attorney is, and maybe the attorney helps explain the process. So something I'd be willing to do. Well, look, John, I really appreciate the chance to chat about this product. Is there any particular pitfalls or things to be concerned with, or if somebody has a scenario, should they just bring it to your attention?
I just think no matter what the scenario, I think just with any of these private money loans, whether it be for this trust situation or for anything, it's really a bridge loan. And what the investors want to know is what's the exit strategy.
Right.
How do you plan to pay it off? Because it's not a loan you want to be holding long term. The terms are not favorable for a long term hold. But I just wanted to mention real quickly, this bridge loan, we also offer this private money. There's situations where you want to buy a new home. An individual wants to buy a new home, but their current home, they're not ready. They want to sell that after they've purchased the new home. Mm. They don't want to sell the other one first. These private money loans are available for that too, where they'll cross collateralize the two together. So it'll give you that bridge loan so that you can purchase the new home and then put your current home on the market and secure both. And then once the current home sells, you can refinance your new home into a conventional type of loan. So bridge products not strictly for just loans to trust, even though there's a lot of interest in that. And it's sort of a new niche, and it's something that's not readily available. Something I also mentioned to realtors is if you have a transaction and for whatever reason, there's a risk it's going to fall out of escrow because the loan is not going through, they're being turned down. This bridge loan can save the deal in the sense that it can get you to the finish line to close escrow and not fall out of escrow. And then once they have, the property, then pursue a refinance. Right. And lastly, the third thing is a situation where a realtor might have a client with bad credits, not qualifying. These kind of bridge loans can come in, pay off all their bad debt, get that credit score up, and then help them then in turn qualify for, a refinance.
Nice. Nice.
Well,
John, I know you guys have a full toolbox of products. I really wanted to spend some time today on this particular bridge product because it's very interesting for those of us who real estate agents that focus in trust and estates. It's hard to find. There are companies that advertise it and go out of business because it's not a steady flow kind of thing. You guys are in the broader mortgage business in such a big way that an occasional deal like this in your operation is significant enough to pay attention to. So I appreciate your time today, John. If someone wanted to get in touch with you to evaluate a particular situation, what would be the best way to reach you?
My direct office line, 310-730-5689. And my email's johnmills, like one word, JOHNMILLS @southbayequity.com. So those are the easiest ways to reach me. I'm always available. And I appreciate this opportunity, Bill.
John, thanks so much. Appreciate it. And if I can help you guys at all, Bill Gross, the LA Probate expert. Look forward to talking to you guys soon. Thanks so much.